This is chapter 23, all about mining. So we're going to be looking at how mineral resources are useful, how they are mined, what their economic and environmental impacts are, and how we can use them sustainably. So our case study for this unit is a little bit disturbing. It's about mining for cell phone materials. Take a moment to gaze upon the environmental destruction taking place in this picture so that we can have touchscreen technology. Your cell phone contains a metallic ore called coltan, which is short for columbite tantalum. It is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where war has raged for years, and over 5 million people have died in this war. Coltan mining was once considered to be profitable, and at one point, 30% of kids dropped out of school to be miners. But now, with the war and the soldiers controlling mining operations, you can only make about $21 a week doing the mining. Wildlife species have been heavily impacted with the deforestation, especially gorillas. The companies Apple and Samsung both claim they're trying to source their coltan responsibly, but it is a murky chain of supply and demand. Mining is the removal of rocks or minerals, and minerals are a solid chemical element or an organic compound, while rocks can be an aggregate of minerals. So we're surrounded by many minerals in our daily life that we take for granted. I like this diagram because it shows what a huge variety of minerals we use, including even salt for our food. Keep in mind that minerals are considered a non-renewable resource, and also that we can mine things besides minerals. We can mine fossil fuels or even groundwater. Ore is an aggregation of unrefined minerals. We extract economically valuable metals from ore. And there's a really awesome, fun TED Talk about a guy who tried to make his own toaster by taking metal from a mine and trying to refine it. And I'll post that link on Google Classroom. It's very entertaining. Metals are processed after mining, and they're mixed with an alloy or a combination of materials for strength. Smelting is the process of heating ores up to combine metals together. This picture is the lead smelter in East Helena, Montana, that my husband's grandfather worked for his whole life. It's now part of an EPA Superfund reclamation site. We're going to be talking about Superfunds in our next unit. And an interesting fact, he worked with the country singer Charlie Pride, who recently passed away, and played baseball with him. Processing minerals removed from the ground leads to environmental problems. Air pollution can come from heating and chemical reactions. And then also mining waste is called slag and tailings. Be sure and add that term slag to your notes because our book doesn't use that. It can pollute soil and water. It can contain toxic metals or acids. And you can see examples of acid mine leachate in the picture on the bottom. That's that red water that's seeping out of the mine. Non-metals that are mined include sand and gravel, phosphates for fertilizers, gems such as diamonds, and fuel substances. If you're interested in gems, the movie Blood Diamonds is a pretty disturbing but interesting look into what we call conflict minerals, which are mined unethically. A huge variety of substances are mined all over the world, as shown in this diagram. Mining can lead to wars and exploitation, as we've already talked about. We're going to spend the next few slides looking at different methods of mining and exploring the environmental impacts of each type of mining. Strip mining is a type of surface mining that removes overlying rock and soil called overburden. I highlighted that because I want you to underline or star that term in your notes. Make sure you know that term. This technique is used for coal, oil sands, which are mined up in Canada. We'll talk about those in our energy unit and down in Venezuela. Sand and gravel. It's really destructive to surface habitats. It leads to a lot of erosion And then also you get acid drainage, that liquid that we saw before called leachate when it flows out, and it's really corrosive and toxic to living organisms. When I was at a summer science teacher workshop near Boulder, Colorado, we conducted a simple study to show that there are fewer living organisms in local streams that are associated with abandoned mines because they have so much of this leachate still seeping out of the mines. Subsurface mining is using deep tunnels and shafts to remove materials such as zinc, lead, nickel, tin, gold, diamonds, salt, and coal. Some of you may have been to the salt mine in Hutchison. This is the most dangerous form of mining because of the potential for collapsed tunnels and inhalation of coal dust. In the news right now, just the past few weeks ago, China has had miners trapped in underground mines. They were trapped for 14 days and only about half of them made it out. Mining is ranked as the 13th most deadly job in the US right now. And by the way, logging is number 1 on that list. Also belongs to this unit. Subsurface mining can lead to acid drainage, groundwater pollution, and even sinkholes. And occasionally you'll see a story about somebody just driving down the road and a hole opens up and their car falls in because of the side effect of this subsurface mining. All right, open pit mining can be seen mostly out west, Montana and other states out west. It's used for copper, iron, gold, diamonds, and coal. We have small-scale gravel quarries right outside of Lawrence. The environmental issues that come along with this type of mining include the pit filling with toxic water, which can kill waterfowl and other wildlife that are attracted to that water source. Placer mining is old-fashioned pan-style gold mining like you may have done when you were a little kid at a place like Deanna Rose Farmstead. It is banned now in the US. It was used during the gold rush, but it's still used in parts of Africa, and it leads to lots of debris in the streams and erosion and can be really damaging to the wildlife and the plant communities associated with the water. Mountaintop removal is the most common type of mining in the Appalachian Mountains of the US. It's cheap, but extremely damaging to the environment. It leads to water pollution, erosion, mudslides, and damage to surrounding homes. So it is used for removing coal. And ironically and unfortunately, the Clean Air Act revision in 1990 led to more mountaintop mining because there are lower sulfur deposits in the coal located there. There are many cases of illnesses and cancer linked with mountaintop mining. I highly recommend the film The Last Mountain, which you can watch for free on Tubi. Reclamation is the process of attempting to restore an abandoned mine or a finished mine to its original state. However, the environmental impacts are often pretty drastic. These areas are often not restored, and often the mine owner can't even be found to pay for the damages. Circling back to the issue of non-renewable minerals, we're actually seeing some mineral scarcities even now. You've probably heard that copper prices have gone up. Copper is something that gets stolen from construction sites. And it's crazy to see how many other minerals are very limited. So based on our current use, we need to figure out some ways to work around these scarcities or slow down our use. So discovering new reserves is one of the solutions. But as the more accessible minerals are depleted, we have to find ways to extract lower grade deposits, and that could lead to more pollution. Recycling minerals is one of the key factors to deal with these scarcities. You know you can recycle cans, but did you know that you can recycle other metals even right here in Lawrence? For example, this picture at the top is taken at 12th and Haskell Metal Recyclery, and I have taken things like old lamps and pots there to recycle instead of throwing them away, and they'll even pay you a little bit for them. E-waste comes from electronic junk we don't want anymore, old printers, TVs, cell phones, computers, etc. It's so important to keep these out of our landfills because they're considered hazardous waste. The City of Lawrence hosts e-waste recycling events, typically once or twice a year. You can also drop some e-waste at places like Best Buy, but you might have to pay a fee. It's really important to make sure that you know where your e-waste is going. And so the City of Lawrence is a safe place. We know that they're disposing of it in an ethical way, and it won't be shipped overseas like to the e-waste dumps that you're seeing in these pictures. These are taken from one of the world's most famous e-waste dumps, where e-waste mining is basically unregulated. This is in Ghana. We're going to be watching some short videos that kind of show what's going on there. All right, that's a wrap for Mining and Minerals, Chapter 23. Be sure and recycle some metal today.